Today, we're wrapping up this 5-week series, Now and Later. We've talked a lot about having wisdom in our lives now and doing things that will set us up for a better future later. If you've missed some or all of this series, that's okay. Each week is kind of its own thing, so you're right on time, and I think today will be super helpful for you. I want to start today by asking a few questions. How many of you have ever been accused of using words as a sort of weapon? It felt really good at the time, but it wasn't until later that day that you thought, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. Or how many of you have ever known what it feels like to put your foot in your mouth? Maybe you blurted out your opinion about something and didn't realize that the person you were talking about was right behind you. Or maybe your mom walked in from work and you immediately commented on how bad she looked and questioned her fashion choices. I love people, and I actually pride myself on being pretty good in relationships with friends and family. But even though I love people, my friends often comment on the way I say things. Sometimes they'll tell me that what I said sounded harsh, which isn't always easy to hear, but I'm glad to have people who are honest with me. One of the places where my mouth gets me in trouble the most is in conflict. When things get heated or uncomfortable and there's a difference of opinions, I often say things that come across as hurtful, even though it wasn't my intention. I was only trying to be honest and communicate, you know? I mean, I had good intentions, but my poorly timed words or just what I said often led to hurt feelings and awkward tension in my relationships. And that, my friends, is not a win. Sometimes I get to the other side of a conflict and simply wish I had talked differently. Maybe you can relate. I mean, everyone handles conflict differently. Some people yell, some get quiet, some get defensive and blame others. But no matter what you do in a conflict, words take center stage. The truth is, a lot of us don't understand the power our words have. I didn't realize it until my friends continued to point out how my words created strife. Words have power in your relationships with friends, family, teachers, and even strangers, which is important to remember because I doubt most of us wake up and hope to be harsh with our words. Most of us aren't trying to be jerks, but the way we say things can rub people the wrong way and create tension in our closest relationships. Some of you have lost friends over the words you've said or texted. Some of you have gotten into huge arguments with your parents because of the words they used or you've used, causing some real damage. Some of you have teachers that hate to see you coming because they feel like you always have something disrespectful to say or your tone is always rude. What we say and how we create it often carries more power than we realize. And unfortunately, sometimes our relationships suffer because of our words. So, what do? I mean, we have to use words to communicate. We can't just live in a cave for the rest of our lives and take a vow of silence. So if we want our relationships to grow and not be hindered by our words, how should we communicate? Is there a way for us to communicate during conflict without losing our cool? Is there a way to communicate that creates stronger relationships and healthier relationships while also making a way for honesty? We've been looking at the book of Proverbs throughout this series. Proverbs is a book in the Old Testament that includes a ton of short sayings and principles that communicate a specific truth to help us make better choices. Its main purpose is to teach us wisdom and the best way to live. And we're going to look at another verse from it today. But before we do that, I want to make a quick observation. Actually, two. First, dealing with conflict isn't something that only our generation has dealt with. You aren't the first, and you won't be the last learning how to do this. And second, learning how to use our words isn't something that only modern teenagers have struggled with. In other words, human beings have been dealing with conflict in words for a long time. It's a timeless battle, which means even though what we're going to look at today was written thousands of years ago, it is a timeless, universal truth. And it goes like this. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Like many verses in Proverbs, This one is communicating two different choices, opposites even. In this case, it's the choice we have when it comes to how we use our words. Let's start with the second half of the verse, or the second choice. A harsh word stirs up anger. At this point, it would probably be helpful to define what a harsh word is. I would say harsh words are unpleasant words that are usually spoken with an angry tone, usually with the intention of shutting down the conversation. If you've recently been in trouble in an argument or a disagreement, you probably know what I'm talking about. You felt that urge to say something sarcastic, rude, or disrespectful. Any of those things qualify as the harsh words that Proverbs is referring to. You don't even feel like she's given you a chance to state your case or explain why it's not a big deal, so you're mad. You yell at your mom and accuse her of constantly ruining your life. That's harsh, right? Your disrespectful words and angry tone likely ended in your mom feeling hurt and angry as well. So now there's no chance of you talking her into letting you go. Your harsh words now solidified your later at home that weekend babysitting your little sister. And no one walked away feeling good about the relationship. That's a consequence of harsh words. Let's go back to the first part of that proverb to see a different choice when it comes to using our words. A gentle answer turns away wrath. Gentle words make it harder to be mad. Have you ever had somebody come to your door trying to sell you something? Did you let them in the house? Probably not. Chances are you politely said, "No thanks," and closed the door, turning them away. In the same way, your words can do this when it comes to somebody's anger with you. Your gentle words can literally turn away their anger. You can diffuse the situation. Think about it. Whether it's your mom, your brother, or somebody you're fighting with, when you speak nicely to them, it's really hard for them to keep escalating the argument. If they say something awful and you respond with gentleness, it's really awkward for them to keep coming at you. They start to feel a little silly, and eventually, the whole thing calms down. When it comes to dealing with conflict and arguments, wisdom says that we have two choices. But really, just one choice if we want what's best for others and ourselves. We can respond with gentle words or harsh ones. If we want to shut down the conversation and have tension in our relationships, harsh words are the clear choice. But here's what wisdom teaches us. If you want to be heard, use gentle words. You have the power to impact people positively or negatively. You have more power and more control over the situation than you may think. If you want to keep your influence with your friends, family, and other adults, you need to use gentle words. Also, if you want a better shot at explaining yourself and getting your point across, which I'll be honest, gives you a better shot at getting what you want, then talk to people in a humble, respectful, chill way. When it comes to dealing with conflict with your relationships, the question you have to ask yourself is this: would you rather make a point or would you rather be heard? Because oftentimes, making a point and being heard are not the same thing. Making a point is about your ability to clap back at a person and shut down the conversation. It's about winning and who has the wittiest comeback. You say what you want to say, and it may even feel good in the moment, but the other person doesn't leave thinking better of you. Being heard means you do everything in your power to make sure the person understands you, and not just what you're saying. You watch your tone and you choose your words carefully because you value the relationship more than you value winning in the moment. And that means if you want to be heard by someone else, you must make sure they're heard by you. And being heard is about learning how to listen. So what does this look like in real life? Well, if you want to go over to a friend's house and a parent, step-parent, or grandparent says no, instead of yelling, blaming, and stomping out of the room, consider asking questions. Say things like, "I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but can you please tell me why I can't go? Is it something I can help you work around, like finding a ride?" Or let's say a friend says something on a text thread that hurts your feelings. Instead of typing a passive-aggressive text back with the goal of hurting them, maybe just call them and say, "Hey, I saw your last text. I'm probably being sensitive, but I feel like it was aimed at me. Is everything okay? Is there something that needs to be done to make things good between us?" Or let's say a teacher gives you a bad grade on a paper. Instead of blaming, consider talking to them in person and looking them in the eye. Say something like, "I didn't get the grade I was hoping to on this paper, so can we please set up a time to talk so you can help me understand what happened and how I can change it?" See the difference? Just bringing a little calm, patience, and kindness in your words to the situation can go a long way. You can still be honest about how you feel and what you want. Just say it in a different tone with different words. Because how we say something is just as important as what we say. A few weeks ago, I suggested that you use a jar with either marbles or candy to track your progress toward a goal. And this week, I want to encourage you to try something similar with your words. For just 1 week, keep track of the kind of words you use, the times you use gentle words in a conversation or conflict, and the times you slip into using harsh words. Carry around a note card in your pocket and write gentle on one side and harsh on the other, and keep a tally of how you do. You can also do this using the Notes app on your phone. You see, sometimes we just have no clue what kind of words we use because we say them and move on so quickly. So for 1 week, track them. If you want to see growth in your relationships, start by examining how you communicate. If you want to be heard, use gentle words. You don't want to lead a life at the mercy of your words and the trouble they can get you into. Choosing to use gentle words will help you keep influence with others. Your parents and friends are more likely to listen to you, and you will maintain a better relationship with them. Using gentle words and tone won't keep you from disagreeing with people, but it will help you avoid damaging the relationship. Never forget that you have a choice in how you respond to people. How you respond now will affect your relationships later. How would your friendships and relationships be different if everyone chose to use gentle words? Well, for one, if you could get this right, you'll actually be able to communicate. You'll create an environment where the people closest to you feel free to tell the truth in a calm way. Life is not designed for us to walk alone. God desires that we all exist in an honest community of close relationships. But for that to happen, it may be that you need to take the first step and decide for yourself to use gentle words, no matter what somebody else is doing. It isn't easy, but it will give you the best shot at the life and relationships you want. So ask yourself, am I strong enough to use gentle words with my family and friends? The quality of your relationships is resting on how you answer that question. If you want to be heard, use gentle words.